Hi guys, welcome back to Carlton Black Ops King, your friendly neighbourhood spook who's been involved in 30 years full of secret intelligence and national security operations. And why do I say that on this occasion? Because what I'm going to do for today's quick blog is I'm going to speak about, around the subject of statecraft. One of my viewers asked me a question, Simon, regarding statecraft. And basically, I explained to Simon, I do a quick blog on it. He wanted me to do that. I shall do that. But I said that I wouldn't speak about statecraft in itself. But what I would, for obvious reasons, but what I would speak about is about psychological psyops operations, which are basically operations which are designed by a state, by an organisation, to push a particular idea of that state to individuals, often in another state. So these operations try to work at body and mind of individuals, hearts and minds, often termed as, to push a country or people or type of people or individuals, often in a country, into a certain mindset. Things that's been going on forever and a day, I guess, since there's been countries. You've always had individuals who, in intelligence services, be they named that or not, who've tried to push particular populace in a certain vein. Latterly, we are hearing a lot about this in terms of how the Brexit case was orientated and the use of Facebook and other social media, but it's been going on forever. So, Simon, in terms of statecraft, yes, there's probably stuff that's been happening. I won't touch that, as I've said, because of the circumstance. People who want to know about it, look it up, just write in statecraft and you'll see what it's about. I'm just going to speak about how intelligence services generally, that's services who act on behalf of a country external to their country, like SIS, better known as MI6 to you, or the CIA, or the KGB, or now SVR, maybe even GRU, act on behalf of the Russians. So it's basically about hearts and minds, changing people's view on a certain issue to the advantage of your government, or if it's not a government, to a party, whatever it might be. What I'd say to you is that this type of psychological operation has happened forever. It will continue because any self-respecting intelligence service, i.e. external service, working on behalf of a country, has one of its basic tenets is the economic well-being of the country it works for. So if you look in what the role is of that intelligence service, it's the economic well-being of its country. And one of the ways to orientate that economic well-being is to have people in other countries to, number one, like the country they're in, to work hand in glove with it, or for reasons that that country wishes to bring about, to change the hearts and minds of people in that country to one that is advantageous to the country which they are working for. So, to be more concrete, let's say, example, the CIA right now today and the situation in Venezuela, there will be operations that are going on to change the public's mentality in Venezuela away from the Maduro government to the young pretender who is now attempting to steal the mantle away from Maduro and the present time Venezuelan government. If you want to look at Syria, that would be the same. If you want to look at the elections in 2016 in the United States, obviously Russia would have been attempting to do the same in the United States. Russia probably also acted, I have no doubt, acted to try and do the same for Brexit and to cause a split in the European Union. But of course, what I would say is, one always needs to remember, what's good for the goose is good for the gander. So on the opposite direction, the West will have been trying to take activity to its advantage in Russia and those connected. So it's not a one-way circus. This is something that goes on both sides, because any self-respecting agency does that. That's me just giving you that in the round. It's very short, it's very sweet. If you had any more detailed perspective of it, you could ask. I'm cautious on this area because it's actual, because it's happening right now. I'd point you in a couple of directions. You may recall that, and I'll use the CIA rather than using our country's organisations, because that's way too close. And of course, the aspect of the CIA, or in this case, the National Security Agency of the United States, NSA, has actually come out. So if you recall that Angela Merkel, and indeed the whole of the German government, was being listened into by the National Security Agency of the United States. Now, these were friends looking at other friends, inverted commas, to see what they were doing. Also, it came out in this same time under President Obama, so it doesn't matter who the president is. You can see that ostensibly to combat terrorism, the NSA was listening to every phone call that was coming out of Spain, example. In fact, vast majority of what's coming out of the European Union. So what I say to you is, if a organisation has the capacity, and by far the United States has the greatest capacity, organisations tasked particularly with signals intelligence like GCHQ and NSA will try and obtain information utilising the latest technology and algorithms to understand what people are trying to say, be it governments or be it the people, be it counter-terrorism, be it counter-espionage, be it for espionage purposes, be it for the economic well-being of the country. They will try and obtain and understand what that country and its citizens or specific individuals are thinking by utilising companies that provide that type of technology. So that's it. Everywhere, everybody's doing it. Obviously, the more advanced countries do it more because they've got the greatest capacity, but that's what intelligence services do, and particularly signals intelligence services. They try and find out what is going on for the advantage of their country, and they also try and orientate people in other countries to think how they think, and definitely in countries that they perceive as an enemy, to undermine them and to orientate a certain message to the advantage of the country they work for. That's what secret intelligence services and security services do. Okay, all the best. Hopefully you have learnt something. This is only by way of giving you further reading that you can look up and see how agencies actually work. But rest assured, it's not a one-way street. Everybody in the game is doing it against friend and foe. See you again. Hope you like the 50s style. I may go back to sort of 80s baseball cap the next time. That's me out. See you later.